looking back, what made you start looking into something like Get Ninja in the first place with remote estimators?
So it had been suggested for a little while that there's various virtual assistant services out there, and I was, this would have been a year or so ago. I just didn't feel ready to like take that on or really understand where it might add value. And then I read a book called Buy Back Your Time. I think it's by Dan Martell.
Dan Martell, yeah. Dan Martell.
And that really kind of changed it opened my eyes to like this kind of thing, like bringing on people. It's for a number of reasons, but one is so that I can free up my time to be able to do other more important things. Not maybe more important things. Maybe they're more important. I don't know. There's more things that, if there's only so much time in a day, in a week. And so that kind of got me thinking just about hiring in general, which is why I several months ago brought on some, team members at Red Cloud. And then it kept, and then, well, with that, bringing on Jason, the influx of new opportunities was obviously increasing dramatically because now there's two of us that are out there constantly trying to find, new work. And it just was pretty evident quickly that like, I'm not going to be able to keep up with everything Jason's bringing in, what I'm working on, and then everything else apart from like sales and estimating. So, I just like searched, if there's service that had, estimators, virtual assistants, whatever, more in the construction realm. And I mean, that's how I found you. That's how I found you guys, was just sheer, Google search.
Yeah. And what did you picture as, say, the worst case scenario when you're thinking about it? What were you actually worried about?
I had so I brought Sarah on board. She's been doing, fairly well, as it seems, with a lot of internal stuff, just job scheduling, coordination, material purchasing, like really more operations based stuff. And when I brought her on, like I knew that there was going to be a period of time in training and like sitting down and going through all this stuff, and trying to get, trying to train her on a system that isn't written down, and it's all lives in my head, right? So, in my previous experience with her, and then even have the year before that when I brought Scott on board as a field supervisor, I just, worst case scenario, I was just thinking like, well, it's certainly possible that this is good. It's going to be something like that where, someone with some experience needs a lot of time and attention. And it hasn't necessarily been that way with Ralph. I mean, I obviously had to do a number of different things. I still haven't gotten through all my Loom videos yet, but part of it's because what we have right now is working well. And I will get through the rest of my list of things to be able to really close the rest of the gap on the whole front end estimating and preparing proposals and all this stuff. That's going to happen soon. But yeah, worst case scenario is just that it was like, that it was going to take way more time and effort, and that it wasn't that, and then just like the potential constant mistakes of, so it's like creating another job where I'm delegating the work and then I have to go back, check the work, which takes the time to then realize that it wasn't done right, and then having to redo it myself. And that has not necessarily, that hasn't been the case, but that to me would have been kind of like a worst case scenario. And I think a lot of business owners fear that, which is why a lot of small businesses stay really small, because the owner can't get past themselves. I work with a lot of these types of guys in the trades that they'll never grow beyond them and their helper or two, So,
but what made you like change your mind and wanted to decide to like try it anyways?
I've again, like, I saw the opportunity that's been slowly building and then kind of coming to a, kind of hitting this next threshold for us last fall. And I've never been like, I'm a pretty risky risk taker. Like sometimes I look back and I'm like, yeah, it probably wasn't the best decision at the time, but we figured it out. And so like taking risk is not, I'm not necessarily afraid to do it. Of just a lot of that type of stuff, at least like bringing on employees and, spending money and making investments in things, requires money. And for a long time, I mean, we were doing okay, but I just didn't have the resources to be able to really, start infusing the business with, the personnel and opening up the budget for things like marketing and bringing on different tools. And, we recently acquired a building and a couple more vehicles. We hired another project manager, field project manager. And it's, it's not like we're making millions and millions and millions of dollars, but that I'm understanding that I want to preempt some of these things that I know could very well happen. If it doesn't, man, I mean, yeah, it's just like you run a business, if you don't get the sales to support your overhead and your staff, it doesn't really matter what size you are. You're not doing great. So I just felt like it was just a really good timing, and I just started making some of the choices that might seem pretty risky to people that just made sense to me.
Yeah. And has it changed your numbers? Like more bids out, more wins, time back, anything you could put a figure on?
So it's definitely gotten a ton of time back. I mean, I couldn't even necessarily calculate it in my, well, I mean, yeah, I could count. How long has Ralph been with us? Just everything that he's been doing for the most part, that's what I would have had to spend my time on, which would have taken me away from other things. In terms of how that's turned into sales, there's been a couple jobs that we've closed. What I will say, this period of time in the season is just a really weird time. I mean, we've got $3 million some in the pipeline that has not been sold yet. And it's been kind of sitting like that for a couple months, and it's not anybody's fault. It's, certain things outside of our control just take longer to get put together, like the architect's drawings and stuff. I don't manage that, right? So we're waiting on those kinds of things. Some of it's just the client's decision-making process that delays the sales cycle. So I'm, if history and trends in our industry and what we've been able to do hold true, then we'll probably close a third to a half of what we're currently looking at, which then equates to, a $1.2, $1.5 million worth of work, not including a job that we did sell a couple months ago that, Ralph had, I think that was probably one of the first ones he helped us, put numbers to and whatnot. And now that's a great question, because it's something that I need to look at specifically, like even with bringing Jason on board, like and he's got a breakdown of all this stuff. So, between bringing Jason on board, an influx of interest, a lot more stuff to put numbers to, and then having Ralph as a support, like Jason probably communicates more with Ralph on a weekly basis than I do, because Jason's kind of taking the lead on all new stuff coming in, unless it's from a couple of my specific referral partners and like customer account kind of stuff, but yeah, the amount of opportunity that we've had at this point in the year is 10x what it was in years past. It's weird. Like summer hits and people stop talking about construction because everyone's on vacation until like the school year starts,
Yeah.
But things are still moving pretty strong, and we keep getting, new leads in and executing a little different of a marketing plan than we have in the past. It's still not 100% predictable, but
yeah. But if you let's say you were sitting where you were 6 months ago, all right, what would you tell yourself, like if you're looking into something like this?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, go for it. I mean, it's gonna pay back dividends, especially putting together, SOPs, recording those videos, getting that stuff written down. I mean, that's gold, and it's not just gold for Ralph, but like, if we scale to what I believe we can do over the next 3-5 years, I mean, there's only so much Ralph can do in a or Jason or myself, so we're gonna have to continue to hire and scale. And so now that those things are, I'm probably like 75% away through my original list for the estimator position. But now it's all documented, it's out there. It's a lot easier to train people on when you have it written down or recorded in a video. And that's what I was saying. Like next month, we're bringing out Builder Trend, people from Builder Trend to help us, utilize that platform and put together all of these, procedural stuff, workflows, SOPs, all the way from like lead intake to job closeout. So, I mean, I realize that there's no other way to grow properly unless we start investing in some of these things. So that's, if I were to tell myself 6-9 months, a year ago, that's what I would have said. Yeah.
Right, man. Thank you so much. I just wanted to pick your brain. Really, it's been a while. I think so, almost 6 months now, right? So
yeah,
looking forward to it. And yeah, Ralph too has been doing great. So we're just looking to keep that running and trying to keep him locked in for you more than anything, right? So it's good. It's good.